Are we here? Did it work?
I'm on a delay, so I can't hear us yet.
Uh, uh,
I have
uh,
11 seconds before we're on screen.
I got it.
oh, oh,
Yep, yep, yep,
can,
I heard me on you, so I think it's
yep,
good.
yep. Yeah, we're
okay,
good.
all right, awesome.
Yep. I heard me on you, so I think it's good. Yep, yep. Okay. All right. Awesome.
So good. Mute your mic.
Yeah, I'm
Mute your mic, please.
do it. I'm done. I was
I
waiting
love
for
it.
the.
Hi, Lon.
Hi, everybody. And by everybody, I mean like probably just like me and Mercy in the stream right now. That's
No,
fine. Um,
Excuse
obviously me
look at your
too.
oh yeah,
chat. You've
and
got a
Yeah,
friend.
we have
I
chat. Yeah,
That's
loan.
Lone.
That's loan.
Lone came from
Lone.
my stream and my
Hi.
Hello.
Discord to hang out with
Thank
us.
you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that
right.
so much. That actually means a lot. Um, Normally, I'm okay with screaming into the void. And that's
Ah,
just kind of where I live. The purpose of tonight, though, I think is going to be, I don't want to say detrimental in the kind of setup for where the season, this finale is going to go. The
we're
conclusion,
fucked.
maybe. I mean, that's always an option, right? There's always that possibility that you've overlooked something, or you've forgotten something, or somebody really just wants to fuck with you for no reason because you've meddled. In the world of vampire, I feel like that's often the case for most uh, squabbles. Is that just these old fucks just like to cause trouble because it's something to do? That might not be the case so far in the city of Chicago. Starting off, um, just a bit of a brief recap. We left off with the prince declaring to a small circle of kindred that she intended to ascend to the inner circle, the highest level of the Camarilla government, implicating all of you, whether you wanted to be implicated or not, in this potentially nefarious or maybe good intentioned plan. Um, it remains to be seen. The one thing that I think we can all agree on, just from just a small amount of the Camarilla that you understand, is they don't like change a whole lot. Um, but so that's kind of where we left off. In the behind the scenes, for those of people watching and the recordings later, um, there have been movings and goings on. It's about let's say about a week or so since the end of our last game. Not quite where we're going to pick up fully for the actual season, but also not at the end. Some things have transpired, some projects completed. Um, all of you have gained little things here and there, and a couple of you got a couple of letters. Now, these letters were different for each of you. Um,
Apparently.
and they might have hinted at players that are moving into Chicago for this final um, outing, let's say. Now, the thing that I need to know, really, which I have a large notebook, and so it is important so that I can search it. I would like to know who's going to start this evening, because there are two distinct parties here. There is a Roland and an Egret, and then there is a Mercy who has cut off her tiny little childer, adopted childer, to save herself either the annoyance or protect him. Um,
I personally, knowing what I think I'm going into, feel like it might be a better second because I'm gonna piss off these two, and for that reason,
You
they might enjoy going first.
you don't know that.
oh,
Oh
Well,
wait, this
How about
wait,
how
hold on,
about we
did I do
roll a
this
d?
right?
How about we roll a d10? Highest number goes first.
I
All right.
I love that. I love the idea of let's leaving it up to chance. Okay, so highest goes first. Who's going
I'll
to
roll.
roll for? Okay, all right. Roland is rolling.
Oh.
Oh,
There's not a whole lot less you can do, Mercy.
It says I'm rolling. It says rolling the dice
Uh,
actively.
your Opera browser is breaking as we speak.
Uh-huh.
Not sponsored.
But it could be.
Oh, there it goes.
there we
Okay.
go.
Well, both.
Clicking it again prompted it to go.
That's fair. Both were higher. So, I do believe that you'll be starting off. So that's actually good because then they can address how you pissed them off, and that'll be
Oh,
more
great.
fun.
Yeah, no, I feel way better about that option.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, let's set the scene.
Yes.
Mercy,
How are you going to piss me off?
you had received, along with your adopted child or Braggy,
Mhm.
a letter in the mail. And this
You want me to read it?
This is yours. That is what I was going to ask you, if you'd like to share what it said or just kind of give the general gist. But
Yeah. For the purposes of brevity, I'll kind of vaguely summarize it. But I got a very fancy Clan Ventru adorned letter that invited Braggy and myself, we both each got one separately, to consider that we're very new to this whole scene of kindred, and that despite Maggie being our entrance into the night, perhaps we don't know as much as we think we do, and that it might be best not to support this decision she's making. They asked us not to, or they asked us if we trust her or not, and so that was the letter essentially. You know, do you trust her? Is she a safe person? Do you really know as much as you think you do? Consider your options. It was actually, it was very vaguely threatening at the end. So it says specifically, take heed and know that time is not infinite for us all, and consider where you wish to end. So yeah, very interesting letter. It was signed from someone called A.
so, upon receipt of this letter, both you and Braggy decided to get together. Comparing your notes, you realize that you both had handwritten letters. Though identical, they were pinned, not copied or photocopied.
I hold on. Kind of think I disagree with that summary. I don't know that Braggy knows that Mercy got a letter.
Oh.
Quite intentionally, after he said he wanted to meet with her, or after she set up this meeting, he brought up the letter. She discussed it with him in person, but not only didn't mention having received her own letter, but like read his specifically, and then pointed out to him that the reason she'd invited him to the gallery was to discuss a job opportunity for him as a musician in her gallery, and did not actually mention that she had her own letter.
That's fair. Reading through your chat logs, it doesn't appear that you mentioned that you also received a letter. Though, while you were speaking with him and making this offer, and he was showing you his letter, another package did arrive.
Correct. Which he did not see what was inside of that package.
Correct.
Because I told him I had some things in the work, and Mercy had things in the works, which is true, that involved him, and that she wouldn't want to ruin any surprises that were upcoming, including that she was, in fact, offering him this like standing position as a musician away from his previous life. But Would you like me to mention what was in the package?
You are, yeah, you are more than welcome to share or not, but that kind of leads into where we'll be going from here. So,
Sure. Yeah, so she actually prevented Braggy for seeing that. It's also why Braggy wasn't invited tonight with her, because inside this package that she received while he was there, and perhaps convinced him or not that it was unrelated, was a second letter. And hold on, sorry, I have to scroll back to that section here.
that's
Oh, I'm in the police talk with Garcia. Actually, that's my fault.
I can link it to you if you want.
That'd be great.
Yep.
I know it's here, but I have to dig.
Yeah, no, it's probably easier if I just slap it in our personal chat. Just
Great, thank you.
mm-hmm. Ah, and the wonder of OneNote. I can search for things that I once previously had lost.
Right.
Just
So,
for your sanity.
Breggy is also not aware of this. But inside the second package that arrived was actually a second letter and a hotel key. And it reads, I'll read this one
Spicy.
specifically because I feel like it's got some interesting notes that are really relevant if we're going into it now. It says, I suspected you would close ranks once my letters found their recipients. Admirable loyalty was expected. She's given you both much. I only ask for you to take a moment of consideration. I mean you no harm at this time, and only wish for you to talk with my emissary. Should you choose to refrain from running to mommy at the first chance of danger, you can meet her in 4 nights' time. Ask the concierge for direction to room 904. Should you choose to bring this to the prince before the meeting, I'll assume your answers. I can assure you you'll find no evidence waiting for you. The choice belongs to you, or to you both. Have a lovely evening, my little adoptees. But again, she did not. She told Braggy that this was a surprise and that he shouldn't look in the box, and did not inform him of what was inside of it, just in case. This is something she's taken on for herself.
And I think that that's probably as best a place to go.
It's what my character would do.
Hey, I'm completely happy with it. The the hotel in question, I believe I had. I lied. I don't have. Um, so for the time being, we'll go here. The hotel is, despite this picture, um, relatively older and established. It is upper class, probably like 5 stars on the price rating for Yelp. And when you enter into the main front desk, there's the normal crowd of hotel guests that you'd expect. Um, families, business people on vacation, that sort of thing. Kind of a hodgepodge. Doesn't really look like if you were walking into an ambush, it would be really not this kind of vibe. You don't get the vibe. And even turning on some of your senses and kind of feeling things out, everybody in here, heartbeats, easily determinable, um, and no real red flags setting off um, just yet.
So Mercy will have shown up dressed nicely, but like in business attire. She's got like a briefcase, blazer, pantsuit sort of situation. She looks professional. Um, and yeah, we'll just approach the concierge and ask for directions.
Okay.
Um,
Just a young woman behind the concierge desk goes, yeah, yes, ma'am. How can I help you? Checking in?
meeting somebody actually. They said I could just come right up. Looking for 904.
She kind of winces at that a little bit, and she goes, uh, pardon, did you say 904?
That's correct.
And she gets this kind of glazed look in her eye. Right this way. And she looks without signaling to the other concierge behind the desk, without kind of addressing any of the other. There's like a businessman, like, excuse me, I need to check in. And she just kind of ignores him and she goes, right this way. And she continues to lead you to the elevators. Um, Following her, I'm assuming,
Mhm.
she does take you to the main elevators. Um, and no no back rooms, no executive elevator, anything like that. It is the main elevator. She goes in and she pushes the button for 9, the ninth floor, holds the door, and says, "Do you have your key?"
Yes, thank you. I do.
When you exit, take a left, then a right. And she
Understood.
gets off and stands there looking at you. As the doors begin to close, you can see like she blinks for a minute and she goes, excuse, and then the doors close and you are going on up. When you
Great.
get to the floor at which you're going, it's very much a normal hotel floor. There's no real. It doesn't open up into a spooky murder room or Aurelius's penthouse bathroom or anything. There's no zombies with bombs in their chests just yet. In that regard, the room in question, once you get to it, the door reads 904 and opens up into a very plain room. Nothing in particular catches your eye except for there is an older gentleman sitting and staring out the window. From the back of his head, you see that he has white hair, has some facial hair, looks to be probably very, not excessively old, but probably like late 60s. And he will stand to turn and greet you.
Does he have a heartbeat?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Um, my name, he says, excuse me, my name is Graham. I presume that you are Mercy?
Yes, that's correct. It's a pleasure to meet you, Graham.
The pleasure is mine. Um, I imagine that you're probably wondering why you're here, and I've been instructed to be as helpful as I can without letting too much of my mistress's wishes be known.
Sure, of course. I understand that she's clearly keeping things private.
Um, I, please forgive me. I was expecting two of you. You and a young master.
Yes. When he's not coming, really, is the short of it. But I could tell you more, but it seemed best for it to simply be me.
Very well. I I've no say in the matter. I'm I'm merely the messenger. Um, well, I suppose where would you like to begin?
Right. Well, I of course have questions, but do you know? Is it hmm, I was wondering if this person, your mistress here, were perhaps of a higher, not class, but leadership of the kindred here, or the kindred as a whole.
I believe that I can comfortably say that yes, yes, my mistress, who I shall refer to only as A, I believe, is what she allowed you. Um, she has in fact, position of power. Yes.
I see. Um, in the interest of full disclosure, as you can clearly see, I've come alone, but you and she should know that um, while I have come here to speak with you, and I am very interested in what she is offering, I do have a meeting set up with the prince later this week with the young man you are expecting to join me, and I think that that will go exactly as I think she expected. But I would like to help navigate this.
She said that was to be expected. But you do confirm that you haven't yet spoken to the prince, correct?
Only to arrange the meeting. She's not got any ideas this is happening. No.
Very good, very good. Then we can proceed. Um, please go ahead.
Yes. I guess I am very new to this. I'm sure she told you, and Miss Masters is my only foothold into the kindred, and it's been not insignificant, the changes she has made and the changes I've seen in her in the time that I have known her. Um, and while I don't necessarily disagree with what she is doing, um, I am curious to hear what A has to offer in exchange.
Yes, very good, very good. Do you mind if I grab some papers from my briefcase? And he gestures. It's in the room. There's no, you know, he's trying to be diplomatic and not. In this scenario, you feel like you are in a higher position of negotiating power than where he's at. So he
Sure,
is acting very diplomatic in that regard.
sure. She'll just gesture, of course.
Oh, thank you. And he'll go over and unbuckle the briefcase, open it up, and pull out a somewhat thick file. And he goes, Mercedes Grace, uh, says your age, presumed death, date here, explosion, I believe. Um, you are of clan Bruja, is that correct?
That is the clan that my sire is of, yes?
Yes. Hmm. not a true Ventru, not
Correct.
truly the child of masters. Yes.
Indeed.
Yes. Oh, what my mistress is offering to you would be more or less the city of Chicago without the responsibility. She's determined that while the prince's plans and machinations have run their course, there is concerning aspects that she's noticed that she would like to remedy. And she's prepared to put some people in place to run the day to day, assist with the transfer. Additionally, you would be given carte blanche with regard to whom is given asylum, leeway. Um, we trust, rather, my mistress trusts that you are close enough to the prince to understand the things that need to be continued and the things that can be reverted to a more appropriate state. Is this something that we could believe to be true?
Within reason, there are some changes that I would perhaps stand by. I'd be willing to discuss such things. I don't, as I said, I don't believe that what Miss Masters has done is entirely negative. Perhaps there is some room for negotiation there.
There have been multiple incursions by the Sabbat. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, all
How
stopped.
how many of them on Ms. Master's watch in your time?
Well, I believe one.
Have there been any other existential threats to the city? Lupin in nature, perhaps.
Not since Miss Masters has taken power.
Hmm. He scans through the notes a little bit more. It says here that the previous government of Chicago, the Ventru clan, has been all but wiped out. Is that true? Are there any other Ventrus operating in positions of power within the city of Chicago?
She'll take a moment here to think. And I believe that there are not. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
Okay. Then yes, she will say as much. No, that's correct. Just the prince.
So coming from a place of power where the Ventru here held multiple positions within the court of Chicago, we're now down to one position. I'm seeing here too that there are reports of thin bloods with a voice on primogen councils and deals that have been made with anarchs to admittedly quell rebellion and smooth over issues, but deals made with anarchs nonetheless. Is this to be true?
To the best of my knowledge, that is true. Given the state of the city when Miss Masters took power, really by accident, I must add. Yes, these things have come to pass.
If I may stop you, were you there the night that she claimed praxis and ascended to the throne?
Well, yes.
Would you mind, for my records, regaling me with a small summation of what happened? There's some incomplete patches that we have, namely, from the time at which Miss Masters entered into some warehouse in search of a Sabbat faction, where we later found remnants of the prince and the former seneschal of Chicago.
Well, of course, I'm happy to help fill in the blanks, but again, I was a very, very new kindred, and I must admit that I was kept out of a fair number of things, and uh, my perception of things was perhaps also quite human, and it's difficult for me to be very clear about. I I was injured at the time as well, but what do you know? And I will fill in the gaps. She entered the warehouse. Is that what? Which one?
We well, we know that she was after a former. I'm not sure the enemy of hers, who had created kind of the issue that had been taking place that night.
Oh, there was a meddler, if you will. I remember. He started threatening our um, my family, and through that, me, and so Miss Masters. His name was Will, um, and he was, I believe, encouraging the Sabat and the Lupines to act against the city. Um, and the former prince at the time uh, asked Miss Masters and myself, and among a few others, to assist in stopping the the uprising and the incursion. Um, yes, and I believe if you said the former prince was found, we had found Will. We had traced him. It's a very long story, but we had traced him to the warehouse, and after there was an attempt on many of the standing council, um, and we found where he was hiding him. Yes, and we tried to break in, but he was very strong, and gosh, I was knocked into a wall. I nearly, I think, saw my last night that day, that evening. If I goodness, yes. She defeated him somehow. There were many of us. We were helping. Like I said, I was injured in the practice of stopping him. Um, he had done something. I'm not very familiar with, and uh, the former prince was not quite dead yet when we found him, but he certainly was no longer any sort of kindred I'm familiar with.
Yes, that does check out with the reports that we acquired after the fact.
Yes.
Mainly, and I guess the point that we are trying to ascertain in this regard is just, did Miss Masters have anything to do with the death of the former prince?
No.
The seneschal?
The seneschal. I'm so sorry. That's the hand, the one who works most closely with the prince.
Yes.
No. I believe. I don't recall if he was the one who was working with Will, or if um yeah, no, I think he was in cahoots with the other kindred, the one who was trying to take over.
Now, this is the Horatio Ballard. We know that he
Oh, I
specifically.
don't like him very much at all. Did you know he's the reason that I undied? That I
Well,
died?
we understand that Mr. Ballard has also met a premature end here in the city, and was subsequently his property holdings and other things have fallen into a bit of disarray. Now, to be fair,
I think the anarchs may have had a hand in that. My sire, my the one who made me, not Miss Masters. Um, I think he was involved with that. With Ballard, or with his end. I mean, they were quite angry at the breach of. I mean, it was a very obvious and large insurrection of uh, the lupine that Ballard was coordinating, and I think that
yes, that was at
I
the
think he,
Pentex power plant, I believe, if
yeah,
memory
no, but
serves.
I do believe that the anarchs are the one who ended him. I'm so sorry.
That's fair. That's completely understandable. This city has been lively, from what we can tell. Um, okay, let's move on. This is in the past. This is less relevant, as more for my
Sure.
personal notes.
I can be. I can assure you that this Will character, the kindred, was the one who all but killed the prince, and like I said, in attempting to take him down, I was injured. So the specifics are vaguely lost on me. He was very strong, um, but we Maggie and Miss Masters was the one who took down Will, but he was the one who had truly ended the former prince.
All right, very good. And he writes that in the notes, makes a couple of notes in the margins of some paperwork. Uh, Please forgive me, Miss Grace, if I'm being a little too forward. I assure you that this is a request um, by my mistress.
I understand that we're attempting to work together. I'm happy to move forward with good intentions.
Is it possible you are self described young, new to this night, as you say? I myself can empathize, but I'm not of the same level as you. I, is it possible that Mrs. the Prince is using you and your perceived naivety to gain support and utilizing you in a way to bridge a gap between your anarch true sire and in keeping you close has manipulated you in some way to feel a sort of connection with her that she doesn't really reciprocate.
She's been standing this whole time. In this moment, she'll sit into like one of the chairs and really think about what he's just said. Um, I, I don't I don't know a lot about the game across centuries that the kindred have informed me of in passing, as though people like us and humans, who aren't even in the know, and even other younger kindred, are pieces of a puzzle or a chessboard, moving in ways that are indiscernible to tell the greater plan. They've made it very clear to me, that that is how the night works. My impression of Miss Masters has always been that while she has her agenda, whatever that is, I, and now my adopted child, or I guess it's still new, am part of her plan, but not. The impression that she gives is not that she is trying to manipulate me. She has always been very kind and generous, but I've learned a lot.
He looks down,
And
when you say kind and generous, he looks down at some notes and flips through some pages. But as he lets you continue, he doesn't interrupt.
sure, but I've learned much in the chaos of the nights that have passed recently about what a kindred says and does in one place being different in another. In fact, recently, the new seneschal has been a more frequent point of contact with Miss Masters than my ability to speak with my sire myself. And as this distance grows, as the prince becomes busier, it seems perhaps that it could very well be a part of her plan to keep us close and intimate, like a family. It was something that I struggled with greatly when I joined the Sun Life, the loss of my family.
And the new seneschal I have is goes by the name of Fee. Is that correct?
Yes, that's all I know as well. Fee.
We believe it to be a pseudonym. We're actually unfamiliar with this person.
She's very mysterious. Kind of a, pardon my language, but kind of a bitch, really.
Are you familiar with Mrs. Masters' previous time? Not within the States, but back in London, where she hails from?
A little bit. She doesn't talk about herself too much, actually. It seems more strange now that we're discussing it, but I only know because again, I told you the man, the kindred Will, who was who was the end of the previous prince. I know a little bit because I was caught up in his machinations. He implied that that's where he knew her from, and I don't know if that's true. But
We
they did seem familiar, and from the past. But again, I've joined in only so recently that it's, who knows. I'm not even sure how old Miss Masters is, or how long she was anywhere before she was in the States.
Understandable. Do you mind if I share some information with you that we've been able to ascertain about your prince, just to maybe show you the kind of person that she might be.
Um, yeah, I think it's in my best interest to hear such things.
Um, well, so previously, Miss Masters did live in London um, until the fall of London in about 2012. Excuse me. I'm taking a drink of water here. I'm going a little southern. um, Miss Masters' time in London was punctuated by the normal things that a Ventru in a city of that size would be involved in. We believe that Miss Masters is responsible for the death of several Tremere in the city of London. We don't know that if she was acting on the Prince's orders of London or not. We do know that many lost their lives, whereas it's believed that Ms. Masters also murdered her own human mortal sister shortly after becoming a kindred. Um,
I didn't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
we believe that she used her in a similar fashion, treated her like a subordinate in a way, and utilized her abilities to gain the upper hand in some ways. And uh, additionally, were able to we were able to obtain these photographs here of her aftermath of the massacre that she is suspected responsible for, and it's some black and white photos of what appears to be like World War One, Two era um,
Mhm.
bodies and things. Um, they
Is particularly horrifying, or
they appear to be children.
Mercy will attempt to sort of disguise her response here, sort of limit the amount of expression of horror, perhaps, um, at these images, especially if there are children involved, or children are the primary victims, and but examine them thoroughly. I mean, she has seen what a kindred can do. She's seen what other creatures of the night can do, and I guess she'll see. Can she tell whether this was like what kind of creature did this, or
It,
if
I
it was
mean, it
really?
it looks like it could have been a kindred that did it. Sure, you've seen kind of the aftermath of what a powerful kindred could do.
Mhm.
Um, there are there are telltale signs in there that you would recognize at this point of being that.
Is there anything about it that would indicate to me that it was actually Maggie?
Beyond him telling you, no.
Okay. She will, like I said, like try to remain as neutral as she can.
He
Um,
doesn't appear to be too focused on you at current.
sure.
Um, but after he kind of shows the pictures and kind of puts them away, he will continue.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the fall of London?
Like we learned about in history.
The kindred fall of London.
I've only I've, I've only vaguely heard about it from my Primogen. We discuss lots of history and philosophy and things, but no, I'm not super familiar.
Fair.
It's I imagine it's surely because it's been very busy in the city of late, but I haven't had much of an introduction to kindred at all.
Uh, uh, well, as a quick summation, the city of London fell around the year 2012. Second Inquisition had moved in and began wiping out kindred, going after most of the cult of Mithras, who was the former prince of London. Um, I won't bore you with too much history there, but I will say that your surrogate sire was there, and regardless of what transpired, she did flee. We have records of her landing in um, New York around 2012, around the same time that the city fell. We believe that she fled, taking with her what she could, and abandoning her kindred allies in the city, including her own sire, who at this time is presumed dead.
I see.
We understand that kindred often operate on their own rules, their own timelines. But there's one thing that we hold in these bastions of laws in civilized kindred society, and that is Camarilla should be looking out for each other. And it goes without saying that your prince did not. And my mistress is just concerned that we could see a repeat here in Chicago.
I see. I I'm very new. I know I've already said so, but it feels important to continue to point that out. But I have seen this city in uproar from the moment that I was created. Um, to even now, it's been only days since the last time that I was attacked, that we were attacked as a city, that something went wrong that I had to solve for the prince, for the former prince, for whatever power was at the time. Um, and so my understanding of perhaps what a city of kindred should be is skewed, indeed. But if what you're saying is that other cities of kindred don't suffer the way that the kindred here do, I think that finding that sort of peace might be more important than the peace that I experience currently because of my position of vague power, of name power, even.
So I've been sent here to ascertain. It's not really my ability to fully understand the truth. I'm a decent judge of character, but when it comes to creatures such as yourself, there are many ways to fool. And
Oh, of course. I don't even blush when you embarrass me. It's
my mistress is aware of this as well. And there is a task that she's asked me to provide you if you are serious. Um,
well, what I. It's not that I don't want to be helpful, but what task? I guess I'm not sure I would be able to. Well, I don't know what is it she wants.
well, now there's been conflicting reports. We've had issues confirming or denying these facts. Um, it seems that your prince um, likes to take on those without clan representation to use them for her own gain, as we've seen with you and your childer. But there was one before you. There was a Victoria, I believe, made similarly to you, and the prince jumped on the opportunity to welcome her into her fold. Um, for a time, she had this Victoria searching for something. Um, we believe that she found it, and that's why she returned. And that's part of the reason that we felt that it was time to meet and discuss the future of Chicago with people that we hope we can trust.
I see. Uh, Victoria, the prince does call us family. My older sister. Um, she has returned recently, but I don't know if she was successful in what she was doing. Like I said, we just faced another uprising, another battle, another fight, more death and destruction of the city, and she was called back to help. She was very. I mean, Victoria, as far as I know, has only ever been helpful towards our goals. But again, I've only ever been in the good graces of the prince.
Well, to be
I
to be perfectly fair, she's not much older than you, both post and pre-death. Um, very
I
similar.
imagine that she's been treated very similarly as well. I wouldn't want to necessarily implicate her in these
No,
games.
no, we don't desire Victoria's input. We just know that she was sent to acquire some item. We don't know what, and we're not sure why, but there seems to be at least some discussion and considerations being made that um, an artifact,
See,
probably a small box of some kind containing something that we're unsure of, was recovered. And we're eager to acquire it.
do you have any more information about it? I may have I may have seen it.
Well, I mean, it it would have been something very dear that Mrs. Masters would have sought.
I don't know how well you know Miss Masters, but anything that brings power is very dear to her. So that's a big question.
Well,
But I mean,
at
if
this
you
at
don't
this
know more,
moment, at this moment,
I
when you say if you don't know more, um, go ahead and roll me.
don't wanna. I'm so nervous.
Um,
You should be.
Go ahead and roll me an insight and wits.
Oh man, hold on. Is this a problem?
Probably. Opera strikes again.
All right, let's fuck it. Hang on, sorry. Let me just swap over because yeah, it's just slow. I outwitted it, but it is still winning. I am a human. Thank you. Roll 20.
Are
Please
you?
let me.
Are
You
are
sure?
you
Are
right
you
now?
sure? Are you sure?
Listen, I'm a lot of things in this moment, and nervous is the greatest. Okay. You said, I'm sorry, wits and
Insight.
insight?
Yep. And anything that you would have that could potentially help you read someone. I don't know your specializations and stuff like that.
I mean, really high up there in like persuasion and on conflict resolution, but I don't think that's necessarily super applicable,
No,
except as like a reading people skill.
I don't know that that would apply in this
Fair.
particular scenario.
I don't think I have anything else.
Sorry.
Got 2 dots in communication, a specialty in communication.
I'll give it to you.
Awesome. I need all the help I can get.
It's a difficulty of 3 when you get there.
Okay.
That'll do. You can definitely tell that he's hiding information from you. You don't know whether he's. It doesn't appear that he's trying to hide it too well, but he probably was instructed not to talk about it based on what you know of this conversation.
If you'll forgive me, is his name Bernard? I'm sorry, I'm on a new browser now.
It's Graham.
Graham. That's right. My bad. If you'll forgive me,
He looks like a
Graham.
Bernard or a Wilfred.
He's got that like little puff when he talks, like a
Yeah. It's fair.
Yeah. You'll forgive me, Graham. I can tell that you know more. If you're not allowed to tell me, I understand, but I would hope that given the risk I'm taking being here and speaking to you, that you could at least be honest with me and tell me that you have been asked not to say more or something. I mean,
that's very fair. I can tell you that my mistress does believe that she knows what is contained within the box.
okay.
And we're fairly certain that it is about this big, intricate, wooden, very old.
Okay.
Please forgive me. I'm not allowed to tell you what is in it.
I understand. No, I appreciate the frankness. I think at the very least we should be able to say such things clearly, if not share openly. I understand the concern, of course. I share a good deal of concern, if you'll forgive me. So your mistress would like me to procure this box from 2 kindred who are older and wiser than I in order to prove that I would like to help you. Is that
Well, when you put it that way, there is definitely an insurmountableness to that task, especially given the nature of the item. No, we would like for you to confirm its location. Um, if you're able to destroy it, we would accept that as a viable alternative. If there's a way for you to destroy it and not get your hands dirty, uh, that's
Right. Um, but I don't know what it is. I understand that you aren't able to share that with me, but I'm not a fan of fire. I'm sure you understand, nor explosions.
understand,
But
understandable.
um, would something like that be sufficient to destroy this item?
Fire would most definitely be sufficient to destroy it. Yes.
What are there other methods that might be something I could do more easily? I mean, it's one thing. Forgive me again to dominate a human and convince them to do something, but in order to get close to anything Miss Masters holds dear, they'll need to be far closer to her than I think I perhaps have access to, except for that I am me. I don't know that I could get, say, a human into a position to do something.
Well, we don't need deliverables right away. Our timetable is progressing at our expected time. Um, Ideally, we believe that you are one of the people in the best position to be able to do this. You have access to the prince. We believe that you have her trust, regardless of how you feel about her.
I no, I agree. I think that I think I will be able to help you. Um, I I mean, as far as finding out where it is, I think I could do that fairly easily. But if you want more than that, I probably need a bit more information. But I'm sure we could arrange something, a second meeting, some other communications. But I do have more questions if I agree to do this.
I believe that's an acceptable answer, and we can
Um,
move forward. And he'll go back over to his briefcase and pull out a very old flip phone, like one of the first.
mhm.
The number is programmed in there. Should you have information, it will go to myself, and I can relay the information to my mistress. She instructed me to give this to you for communication, and if you seemed that you would be willing to assist, which I have determined that you are. So, if there's no more questions, I think that that's probably as long as we should meet in a singular place in the city of Chicago.
I understand. I do have two more things before.
Of course,
Um,
he'll begin packing up his stuff slowly, but
I I know something about fee that will make this extraordinarily difficult, and I feel like I should share it with you in case your mistress has a solution. But Fee has this skill. This she's she's very good at reading people, and I don't know how deep entirely that goes, but I know that it might not be safe um, to know these kinds of things and be around her. Um, she might be able to figure out that something is happening. Um, I'm not sure the extent of her power or where it comes from, if it's a kindred thing or if like she's into some sort of other magics. But if I can avoid them for a while, I have a meeting with Miss Masters, as I told you, to discuss the letter that was sent, the first one only. They're unaware, of course, of the second letter or this meeting. Um, but I don't know if your mistress has a solution to help. protect my mind from such incursion?
I think the solution for my mistress, at least, is just the less you know, the better. The information that you have is very surface level. I don't know that it would be too much.
What if I told Maggie about what was happening? Like something that we discuss, that we come up with, so that she is aware vaguely, but thinks that I am working with her. We could give her something untrue or false or whatever, but to let her know that I have been here and that I'm working in her best interest, um, despite us perhaps knowing otherwise.
I believe that. Well, I've been instructed to inform you that if that's the path that you choose, as long as you accomplish the goals of my mistress, we don't mind how it's done.
So I guess then I will take on this task for you, and I will have to count on your mistress to take your word that I am doing my best to be helpful. Um, I will have to speak to Maggie, and as I said, I don't know how much Fee will be able to dig from my mind, and so I think in order to be most effective that I should let them know what's happening and phrase it as though I am working again in the interests of the prince. But again, I think that being open about that is important here. If that's agreeable, as long as I am working towards, in fact, your mistress's goals.
Your methods are your methods. We don't have the access that you do.
I understand. Then yes, and she'll take the phone and offer a handshake.
He will shake your hand back.
Does he, in this moment, seem particularly nervous? Is his hand clammy or anything like that?
It's just the warm hand of an elderly gentleman. Nothing. He doesn't seem particularly nervous. He seems very much like he said he's the messenger.
Okay. Then yeah, she'll shake his hand and say, I thank you, I guess, for your time. Do you need me to do anything about the concierge?
No, I believe that has been taken care of. The only thing that I would recommend is that we leave at a staggered time. I'll leave 5 to 10 minutes before you, if that's acceptable.
Sure. I brought my briefcase. I've got a good enough reason to linger here.
Very good. I hope to be in touch. And he will pack up his things, put his coat on, put his little hat on, and exit the door without looking back. And you are left within this hotel room to your own devices for 5 to 10 minutes or so.
She'll just hover. I mean, she's just waiting to go back.
Okay. Time
There's
passes.
nothing from-
You exit. You go back down the way you came in, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
The lobby is still pretty crowded. And as you are exiting the building, there's several people kind of coming in. It's kind of like a weird time of the night where it's kind of busy, like people are getting in from flights and things like that. And a person bumps into you, but you can't really tell who it is. Um, and you find yourself back out on the street.
Have I been pickpocketed? Am I? Is there a bug on me now?
You
I don't
you
like that. All right, fine. Okay.
um and with that, we transition slightly to a different part of the city, perhaps even a different evening of the city. Also, Mizui, check your chat. And the two of you, Roland and Egret, you've waited so patiently. I do appreciate it. Vampire, this is the game of long diatribes and conversations.
It's what my character would do, guys. You have to trust that you know Mercy, okay?
Bullshit. Traitor.
You guys know Mercy.
Uh-huh. As a traitor.
As a traitor! J'accuse!
You really, okay, you know what? That's fine. You think what you think.
J'accuse.
So, we transition. Pan out, zoom around the city, zoom back into Roland and Egret. We catch up with them this evening. You also received a lovely little note.
I did indeed.
Um, if you'd be so kind as to fill us in on what's been going on with you these last week or two since the evening we left on.
So, Ygritte and I have been spreading our influences around the city.
And very effectively.
As we now have run security for a number of high-level establishments through our own company.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I
that
believe
is what has been going on.
many assets were acquired from previous adversaries and things.
Yes, yes.
Right.
If I did not get to kill him, I then get to take his shit.
Yeah, very fair.
It's only fair.
Your letter that you received was less a letter, more of a note. More of a
Yeah.
more short, sweet, and to the point. You could say.
Yeah. It was definitely short and not. I wouldn't call it sweet.
Based on the note that you received, you were instructed in it to wait further instructions.
Oh, right.
That comes tonight.
Would you like me to read the note?
You're
Just
welcome
for-
to. Yeah, I would love you to read it.
Oh, I'm sure you would.
I would love to hear it.
I'm sure. So, Roland found a letter. Under the seal of Clan Toreador, and it read as such: "We know the prince plots and plans. You will serve your clan and elaborate further. Speak a word of this to the prince, and you and those close to you shall be added to the red list. Await further instructions, but prepare yourself to cooperate fully. Signed, Die. D.I.
D.I. Yeah. Signed Die. I didn't. It's funny. I didn't even think of that when I wrote it.
Right? Yeah, no, I caught it as a little added bonus. I assume her name's Diane in some fashion, but
One
Think
never knows.
C, but like 1 year earlier. Or later, rather.
So, the instructions that you were awaiting arrive. Similarly, this time, in regard to the method, it is another sealed letter. This time, though, it is hand delivered to your haven by random guy. He doesn't appear to be anybody that you know. He appears to be just some mortal. Has a heartbeat. Says, I was given $50 and said that this was for you. When you
don't say.
Hey, I was walking.
Activate all.
He's fully
Yeah, I got
entranced at this point.
fantastic.
Yeah. Hmm.
What did the person look like?
Ah, pretty?
So female?
Yeah.
Oh, see, those are that's
Um,
description.
I want to say light. Oh man, I've had a lot.
Light?
I've had like hair, like
Oh, blonde?
maybe, yes. Um, man, I didn't think I'd been drinking that much. I don't even. I was. Where am I? Where?
It's fine. Have a good night.
This is nowhere near. And he kind of rambles as he
Yeah.
walks off, appearing to be not where he expected himself to be.
Mm-hmm. Domination. Lovely.
The letter as you open it
Mm-hmm.
is blank, but folded inside is an invitation to the Succubus Club.
Interesting.
Well, I needed to go there anyway. Egret!
Yeah.
Put on your finest. It's time to go meet people.
My
uh,
first official outing is a kindred.
it
No, not yet. No, you gotta meet her first.
sorta
Eh,
Well,
kinda. It's the fun. It's the fun first intro. Um, but on that fun little transition, shall we take a quick 5 minute break or so to use the
Sure.
restroom, refill waters, and things like that? Um, I,
Yeah,
I,
that bitch Mercy couldn't shut up.
I
So.
well, I didn't expect for it to go on as long as it did, but I forget how I ramble. You guys all have things to talk about too. I can't just tell you all the secrets that I keep in my head. So,
Yes, you can. You can
uh,
totally do that.
okay, so
I
really
give
the
you
bad
permission.
guy is uh then
When I really, really subtly just stuck that knife right between his ribs.
mhm, mhm.
Oh shit, we're back. Hi guys.
But he was like a. Never mind. I was just being
I
cautious,
just
you know.
No, shh.
I mean I-85 is a really strange place to hide that, but that's fine, you know.
Yeah.
Who's really gonna look for somebody with that much money, right? Like
Nobody
nobody cares.
nobody's
Nobody.
going to look.
No, not
No.
anymore.
Not now. Uh-uh. So, hi everybody. Welcome
No.
back.
Hi guys.
We left off as Roland and Yeaget were grabbing their keys and heading out the door to a lovely little place that you can see behind us, the Succubus Club. Um,
Looking all fancy.
They still refuse to work with Mercy on like club stuff.
very much so, but not Roland.
Sure.
Roland's music often has a certain clientele. This is that clientele. These are those people.
Mhm.
The outside of the club, you can very much hear, and this is where YouTube demonetizes everything and Twitch shuts us down as far as any possible things go. Because I play the DJ Doulahan playlist when we're here.
All the polka, yeah.
Polka is
Polka.
not allowed for many reasons in my game.
Polka.
So, as we arrive at the Succubus Club, and all of the music and people are moving in and out of the club, the scene, as many nights. You've been to Club Nova, you know Club Nova is popular. The Succubus Club is on par, if not a more active joint than Club Nova. Um,
To Annabelle.
yeah,
Well, see, remember, uh, Club Succubus hasn't gotten DJ Doulahan until very recently.
that's true.
Sure.
That is very true. You are a recent acquisition, one might say.
Hmm. I would not say that. No,
The
recent partnership maybe.
there you go. That's better. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So very familiar. Security at the door. Long line of people stretching pretty not around the block, but for this time of night, it's pretty long. Of people still waiting to get into the club. Um,
Oh, we're
the
gonna walk right in.
the
Walk down
normal.
the line.
Yeah.
Walk down the line in front of all of them and walk right in.
Yeah. Excuse me, sir. Card, invitation. Are you on the list?
Excuse me, kind sir. I am the list.
That's great. I'm so glad for you.
Presents. Oh yeah, presents.
Okay. Unprepared mortal doesn't require a lot. It's go right in. I'm so sorry. I, you're so
It's fine.
familiar. You're so. Where do I know you from? Nah,
I'll
I,
tell the owner you do a good job.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir. And you hear the commotion from the line, like, what the fuck? Why does he get to? Who the fuck is that guy? And then, as you progress further
I'll wave to
inside,
them as I walk in.
You're a
they
dick.
they love that so much.
Or, I'm assuming you don't have your DJ Doulahan mask
Fuck
on
no.
tonight.
No, he's just normal Roland guy.
He's just an asshole. He's just an asshole.
Aren't we all?
I'm better than that.
That's what makes it fun.
I'm better than
I'm
them is
better
great.
than them.
That is a fantastic line. You walk in, it's very much this. There are
Fantastic.
hundreds of people dancing, partying. There's a DJ up on stage, maybe somebody that you know. But right now, the commotion is pretty evident. There's a lot going on. Within minutes of you and Ygritte entering the Succubus Club, you feel a hand on your arm, Roland, as a certain, well, I would say your favorite person shows up,
Oh,
and she whispers down into your ear, "So good of you to join us. Shall we go somewhere more private, where we can talk?
of
You can
course. And
introduce me."
he puts his hand on her hand as as she does that. He goes, Yes, of course. But I must say, do one thing as I promised. Your doorman did a fantastic job.
Oh, excellent. Um, and she snaps her fingers, and you see two other guards go over to towards the door as she leads you away. You have you don't know why, but um,
I just said what I did what I
you
promised.
did what you promised.
How she took it is a whole other thing.
Very true. And Annabelle's kind of a bitch. It's kind of her whole
Yeah.
thing. So, she,
With a face like that, wouldn't you be?
I mean, she is gorgeous. That's
Yes.
she's entitled and French, so she's a little bit of a bitch anyway.
Yeah.
I say that having known several people
Canceled.
from France.
Cancelled.
Oh, yeah.
No, cancelled.
There's an inherent arrogance.
Don't say not in this current climate. No.
Cancelled.
I love everybody. Anyway, she leads you to a private club, a private room within the club. I'm going to pop over here to the main of this volume and turn it down a little bit. The music here is more muffled, where you guys can really talk without having to strain or kind of tune out the noise. Ygritte, up until this point, Annabelle has not acknowledged you in any way. She is fully doted upon Roland. You've probably seen this before in other scenarios, in Club Nova and things like that, where you are ignored by her because she is Annabelle.
100%.
So
I get
as
it.
soon as we walk in and she sits down
There are
or
two.
stands.
There are two other people in the room
Oh,
when she enters with you.
okay.
Um,
Then I will not do what I was going to do.
right. I thought that might affect
Yeah.
your
Uh-huh.
um, motives.
Yeah.
You see. Um,
He reaches back and touches her wrist and squeezes it slightly.
hmm
That's it. Ygritte, not Annabelle, obviously.
um, Annabelle is squeezing your arm pretty hard as
Uh-huh.
well.
Uh-huh.
Um, she is at this point
Does she look worried or
make
nervous?
make a wits and insight.
I'm so scared for you.
Add,
Me too.
add wits and insight. Add one die because you have interacted with Annabelle in certain high stress scenarios, and it is a difficulty of 3.
Um, Remember, I gotta click insight first.
Yeah, it's weird. I always forget to say the right one
Yeah,
first.
skill and then attribute.
Yeah.
Scattribute. That's how I'll remember it.
It's just scat. That's how we remembered everything
Yeah,
in school, right?
yeah.
Nope.
Shit
Fantastic. I'm not pushing Burning Will for
Okay.
this.
Um, hard to say. Ygritte, you're here too. You are also kindred. You can make the same roll. You can
Why
judge
not?
by her mannerisms from behind. Same bonus die, as you have also been in the room with her during these stressful situations. You know what her stressed out appearance is. The
So you
subtle.
said that goes pool size modifier 1, right? Is
Yes,
how I do that?
correct.
Okay. Uh, just leave it at difficulty 2?
3.
3. 3. There we go. It's been a while.
It has been.
Oh, nice. Jesus. All right.
That's very good. That is plenty for you, Ygritte, to see as Roland is being led by Annabelle, this creature that you've known to be a horrifying monster at times. She seems very afraid. She seems like she is putting on a face um, that it belies like this sort of reserved terror that you may have only seen when she um, was in the presence of Loden when he stormed Master's Tower, and she realized that this thing that she thought was dead was not, and it was terrifying her then. It's similar to that vibe.
Lovely.
The With that information, the other two women, one of them you have all met before, as you about a week and a half ago, walking into the Master Suites. The lovely Portia, who was with Annabelle at the time of your meeting,
Mhm.
um, and she smiles at both of you. And gestures at the seats nearby. Um, And then there is another woman there who is not somebody that you recognize, um, at least right away.
Mhm.
She doesn't say anything, but she kind of gives a small, not a full smile like Portia or anything, but a kind of a nod of respect, and she kind of
Well,
leans back on the couch.
Roland will smile and bow slightly. Good evening.
Pleasure.
He will escort Annabelle to the couch.
Oh,
You sit down.
you're so sweet. Um, where are my manners? Ladies, Roland, one of the newer kindred of the city, he has been instrumental in many of the current goings on with the new prince and the new administration and all of just the wonderful things that I have to say about him regarding his influence for our clan. Um, I he's one of the good ones.
Oh, you flatter me so.
Oh, I do my best. Um, uh, Roland, dear, these are uh, Portia, if you remember. She is my
I
business associate.
I
Well,
try not to forget a magnanimous figure such as her.
she smiles and kind of nods her head to you guys. Oh, you're such a sweet one. Um, and then Annabelle gestures to the other woman and says, "This this new this new arrival to our lovely city is uh, Diana. She is here on business, um, and well, um, she's the one that asked to meet you here tonight, actually. Um, and she will look at you both and give a small nod back to you both.
This this lovely creature as well as Ygritte, newly inducted into the clan. I intended to bring her here to meet you specifically tonight as well to
Right.
formally introduce you.
Ah, yes. Yeah, so, ladies, the prince allowed, as well with my input, the embracing of this one who has earned a fairly decent reputation, actually, in helping out. She was previously, I believe, Roland's ghoul. Yeah.
That is correct.
Um, Ygritte will kind of bow, like and just it is a pleasure to meet you.
Um, Portia kind of just leans back more on the couches and smiles wider. Um, and the other woman, Diana, she kind of looks you up and down, like assessing you in a way, and says, "You made her yourself? Or did you have one of the elders of our clan embrace her?"
She is mine.
Good. Loyalty is good. Let's not mince words. My name is Diana Iadenza. I sent you a letter.
I did receive it.
Good. I trusted you would. Uh, do you know who I am, Roland?
I unfortunately must relay my knowledge of is lacking.
Do you know what a Justicar is?
That I do know.
I am the Justicar of Clan Toreador.
Well, then it is doubly a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Out of character, could you explain that real quick, please?
Yeah. Actually, let's do it in character. She's going to look at you and she's going to say, I'm assuming that he hasn't told you what a Justicar is. Probably haven't gotten to that lesson yet.
We have not acquired that lesson yet.
Well, let me be the first to enlighten you then, new one. The Justicars, we're like the generals. Do you know what the inner circle is? Do you know the Camarilla government and how it functions?
Um, yes.
Good. We are the powerful, visible faces of that organization. If you step out of line, if you go against Camarilla law enough to become a problem for those people, specifically I am of Clan Toreador, and each clan represented on the inner circle has but one Justicar. You piss people off enough or create enough of a stir, we get called in. And we do what we have to do to make sure that things within the Camarilla remain the way things go in the Camarilla. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Roland, do you understand that?
Yes.
Good. So do you want to tell me why you're conspiring with your prince to assault another member of the Camarilla?
Mm. Would you care to clarify? I don't know who, exactly what you're referring.
Is there a reason that your prince has called for the Ventru member of the inner circle to this city?
Not that I am aware of.
Not that you're aware of.
Not that she's seen fit to enlighten me upon. If she has made notions of ascending, but any specific reason I do not know.
She, you see her kind of like stretch for a minute and like crack her knuckle a little bit. Um, and she readjusts and she kind of tilts her head and she goes, "So, you're going to sit there and you're going to tell me that your prince has called for a member of the inner circle to come to the city to validate something that would grant her some sort of audience with the inner circle. We don't know a lot of the details, and we're really hoping that as a member of this clan, our clan, you're willing to work with us a little bit to fill in our blanks."
If I can help, I will.
She
That is.
looks she looks over to Annabelle and she goes, "Your club is an Elysium, correct?" And Annabelle goes, yes, Miss Adanza. It is in fact an Elysium, and all here are under my protection. Though they are also um, entrusted with the knowledge that they must not create conflict if none is needed. And she kind of turns her eyes back to you. I I don't want to be the bad guy. We're the same, you and I. We're both of this clan. We are both of the same blood. I just want what's best for us all. It is my job to ensure that the Camarilla will weather the storms, that we will address anything that could potentially harm all of the Camarilla, but my area specifically is the matters pertaining to Clan Toreador. So,
Since I have arrived here, I have done nothing but try to help the Camarilla.
Annabelle will go, that is true. He has been one to follow the traditions to a T, and also, like I have stated before, and Diana's going to hold up her hand and stop Annabelle from talking. Listen, I appreciate your loyalty. My intel is sparse, I'll admit. I'll be honest with you in hopes that you return the favor and I don't have to find you in another place that isn't as sacred. Not a threat, but I am required to do the job that I've been elected.
Of course.
The the prince, regardless of what her initial plans are, what she's done is unorthodox. Now, the Toreador representation on the inner circle doesn't really give two shits what happens to the Ventru. I'll just say that. However, if it blows back up in your prince's face and causes, for example, the city of Chicago to fall into, I don't know, one of the many anarch hands that are reaching for the city, or hell, even the Lupins. And, well, what the fuck? The Sabbath's been here goddamn near 10 years at this point.
Yeah, mostly probably due to Ventru influence, if I was to be honest.
Right. But if that comes back, if we lose our position of power in this city, if poor Annabelle loses this club, how do you think that's going to reflect on the inner circle?
Imagine very, very poorly.
Right. Very, very poorly. And how do you think the people responsible for that fall will be treated?
Again, fairly poorly.
I think that's a fair assumption. Now, whereas, like I said, the inner circle member of Clan Toreador doesn't really care. In fact, and this is just between us five here, I think she's kind of rooting for your prince. I really just want to know what's going on because I don't like to be left in the dark.
And that is another trait we share. But, like I said, I do not know the exact reason. I do know what she said, and I have assumptions based on that, but that is it.
Well, let's hear him.
Again, what I told you before is that she wishes to ascend. I assume to her that means taking a seat on the council.
You don't just take a seat on the council. That's not how it works.
I'm aware.
It is convenient, though, that this is the year that the council would meet. It's oddly coincidental that this is the time period at which your prince has decided to all of a sudden have a reason to even be heard by the inner circle. Any idea what that might be? She's fairly certain, enough so that she put her neck on the line to call the inner circle member of Clan Ventru here. Now, to me, that says that she's got something big, something, something that makes sense to create all this commotion because she knows she's not young, she's cunning. She knows that she has the upper hand, or she wouldn't be talking. She would not have reached out. I want to know what it is. And I think you do too.
I I do want to know, but I currently do not, so I unfortunately cannot tell you.
Hmm. Well, I guess I came all this way for nothing.
I didn't say that. I just said I currently don't know. Because she is not deemed fit to tell me. I did not know she even called him in. So my lack of knowledge frustrates me a little bit, to be fair.
So, you're telling me, and I just want to get things clear, that you have no idea of what the prince of this city is about to do, or why she has created such a commotion with the highest rank of the Camarilla.
I do not know why, no. Oh, that is to say, like I said before, she wishes to move up, possibly what she says to make a difference, whatever that means to her.
Oh, I'm familiar with the difference that she's been making. Many in the Camarilla are familiar with the difference that Chicago has seen in such a small time span.
But directly, I have no actual knowledge of what she has to play. I do not want to mislead you, but again, I have told you my assumptions, but no real proof of my words.
Okay. You, new blood, Ygritte,
Yes.
do you understand, even in just your short unlife, the dedication to the convictions that the Camarilla have?
Yes. I've probably seen more meetings and uh such than most of my age.
Well, you've had audience with a prince of one of the biggest and most powerful cities that we maintain. Do you have any idea the kind of target that can put on your back? Even if you're quiet, even if you don't make waves.
I've already felt the target on my back and what that has done to those I've cared about in the past. And quite honestly, that is the biggest reason why I asked to be embraced. So that I could more effectively be a part of this city and more effectively protect the Camarilla and Chicago.
Do you understand what it means to be a Toreador?
Yes.
I want you to do me a favor. I'm going to be in the city for a while. Portia here has been kind enough to call me in and inform me about what she thought might be of concern to the Camarilla. I want to know what you know when you're in the room with her, your prince. I want you to tell me, and I don't want to have to pull it out of you. Keep me in the loop, and I'll make sure you keep your heads. Keep me out of the loop, and I might be the one that has to take them. Okay?
Right.
Ygritte nods. He's trying to voice now.
I have things to do. I'll be in touch. And she gets up and she leaves. She doesn't stop or pause for any sort of pleasantries. She doesn't say goodbye to the other two women there. Um, and she most certainly doesn't say anything to you both on the way out.
So Portia's still there?
Yes, Portia
Cool.
and Annabelle are still there.
All right.
And Portia looks to Annabelle and she goes, "Well, I think that went pretty good. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect when I called them. I'm glad she came. Seems like she's got our best interest at heart. What do you think, Annabelle?" And Annabelle, for a split second, kind of hesitates, but she goes, "Yeah, of course, Portia. Your guidance is always just what we need." And then Portia looks to both of you. She goes, "Have a seat. Come here. There's no need for us to be enemies. We're all Toreador. We're all part of the same clan. Annabelle, why don't you do me a favor and go check on that thing that you had to go check on?" And Annabelle gets up and she goes, "Ah, yes, that thing. Roland, dear,
Mm.
um, Brett will be in contact with you about some matters regarding your persona um, and the uh, club appearances that we've discussed and things of that nature. I trust that you'll give him everything that he needs. Yes?
Yes, of course.
Oui, good. Um, well, if I don't see you before you leave, good evening to you both, and welcome, Egret. It's good to have you. And she will walk
Okay.
out. So the three of you are now all alone in this room at the Succubus Club. Come on, I don't bite. Sit down.
I'm pretty sure that's not true.
Well, you understand the expression. Sit.
Oh, very much, but little bit of brevity.
Oh, yes. The politics and everything with the Camarilla can be so stuffy. Now, I truly only want what's best. I think you do too. But we haven't really got to know each other very well. I've only just really met the two of you. I've heard many things. I've heard about your exploits helping the prince. I've heard about the appearances that you do as your electronic music person. I Point is, I have no reason to be an enemy to you or, any sort of adversary in any sort of way. I think we could help each other. And this whole business with the prince can, you know, lead to greater things, hopefully.
Oh, I did not want to be an enemy of yours either. I didn't think we needed to go down that route.
No, I don't believe we should.
Hmm.
But the, there are so many things, Roland. There are so many things that we could discuss. And
I
really,
hear a butt coming.
well, there's just one that I really am concerned with. You know that place that you went with for the prince, the subterranean area of Chicago. I believe they call
Ah,
it the labyrinth.
the labyrinth, yes. What
What's
would you like to know?
what's it like?
Very labyrinth. Magic seems to be a thing down there. Um, wards, glyphs, nightmarish.
Did you find anything when you were down there? Anything of note? Any sort of, I don't know, items? Any?
No, I found nothing. More like I was trying to figure out and get my bearings mostly down there. The labyrinth has a way of distorting your mind and fogging it just to not know whether you're coming or going, and then it traps you.
That's fair. I recall.
Oh, you've been there.
Just once, a while ago.
Hmm.
Would you go back?
Not if I didn't have to.
What if you had to?
I don't know how my. It's not that I wouldn't want to. I would not know what to do. I am not so inclined in that to a lot down there as my abilities lie in other areas. But if I had to, and if I was asked, I would go.
If you were asked, if you had to. These are all such trivial words, really. Forgive me. The Do you know why I called the Toreador Justicar? Do you have any idea why I might have done that?
If you had to put a gun to my head, I would say you didn't like the way the prince is taking the city.
Hmm. I'm gonna let you in on a little bit of truth. In fact, I don't give a damn what happens to this city. I'm not particularly interested in the day-to-day politics. That's what Annabelle's for. That's why she's here. She enjoys it, I think. I don't really care about that either. I care about one thing. Well, two things. Our clan and our future.
Oh.
How?
And what do you think is in the labyrinth that will create the future?
Hmm. Not yet. Probably
Hmm.
soon. Do you know what the... How old are you, Roland? If you don't mind me asking, I know it's such a crass question to ask.
Less than 100.
Then you don't know yet. You may someday. This has been good. This has been a
You know what?
fun conversation. Nothing, nothing you need to worry about yet. There are things that happen when you get older. You'll experience them in time. For now, I think we're done. And I strongly encourage you to follow what your prince says. I also
Do you?
encourage you to follow what is best for our clan.
Hmm. Yeah. It's been an interesting night.
I think that's a fun way to put it.
If I may ask one thing.
You know what?
No.
Sure. One thing.
Fantastic. Where exactly it is are you from, if I may ask?
Hmm. Where am I from? Well, somewhere warmer. And I'll just leave it at that, and she'll give you a little wink.
Hmm. I didn't think they let devils out of hell. In the nicest of ways.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. At that, Portia will kind of lean back with a little bit of a smile on her face. She's gonna say, I think it's gonna be a fun year. One of the most fun in a long time.
It's already been a fun year.
And then she will hold up her hand and just kind of like very gently
Dismiss
just
us.
go, bye bye.
Yep. Stand,
Mm-hmm.
bow,
Mm-hmm.
and then leave. And look at Ygritte, and then leave.
Mm-hmm.
Ygritte's gonna follow his lead, just small bow, and out they go.
On your way out of the room,
Mm-hmm.
as the door closes, kind of out of the corner of your eye, you see Annabelle standing there, kind of off to the side, and she's just kind of looking at you as you leave. And she doesn't say anything, doesn't motion you over, but she
Alright.
just looks at you.
Balloon put his hand over where his heart would be and bow his head to her.
Her eyebrow will raise, and she'll give kind of like a half snort and turn the other way and walk off.
Mm. As he leaves the the Elysium,
Mm-hmm.
not the Elysium, the back rooms, and get into the club.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She Ygritte will see him like visually just go.
He kind of gets up next to him and goes, "It's a good thing I'm not a ghoul anymore, or I think I would have pissed myself.
Mm.
I was scary as shit."
Lean over and go. I hate to tell you this. As a vampire, you still can do that. It's just a different color.
It's true. It's gross.
Sometimes that's why we wear the red pants.
Did he actually say that?
Yes.
He like punches him in the arm, and they just keep.
Before we leave, he will say, "Be wary of those two women. They will kill us without a second thought."
No shit.
And I pissed woman, and I poked the bear. Do as I say, don't do as I do. I am not the smartest of men.
Again, no shit.
So, having had your lovely meeting with the presumed DI, as she let you know, you find yourself not being harassed anymore that evening. Your meeting been had, things that were said were said. You can take that information with what you will. If there's anything else anybody wants to do, really quickly, or even a little bit of time, we can touch on them now, or
Oh.
we can hold them off until the first official episode.
Gonna,
Anything you want to do, Mercy?
Mercy has like a side trip that she'd like to make, but like is now a good time for that, or
It certainly can be. I don't think it'll be too long of a side trip if you really want to go.
We're only gonna go home and write some fucked up music.
Mercy really wants to go kiss the bean. Not a euphemism.
Right.
She's
Yeah.
feeling touristy after such a intense moment.
Who's not? We're just
Oh
gonna use
no.
the city backdrop. I don't have a picture of the bean uh, offhand.
That's not what it's called.
I know, but
It's definitely called the bean.
But
he
but
hates it,
but
and that's
fuck
why.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But fuck him.
that's why we call it the bean. Mercy, you feel touristy all of a sudden, and you don't know why, or maybe you do. I don't know.
Just it's been stressful lately, and like a walk seemed nice, and like just like walking until oh wow look the bean so pretty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You find yourself there. Take a cab, drive your own car, walk, take however you want to arrive there. Probably just a spitball in 3 hours from when you left the hotel.
Give or take, yeah, just about.
There's still a few people walking. Um, but there's one woman who is, or there's a female figure, I should say, standing nearby the bean, kind of reading the paper and kind of looking a little less like she should be there. You see really just dark hair and a dark um, jacket. You can't really make her face out at this point in time.
She's just like hanging out on a bench, park bench, kind of.
Yeah, just nearby.
Yeah, Mercy will not get too close, but approach close enough like to speak casually. Say late night for reading the news. What are you?
Um, Politics, you know,
Oh yeah.
things things happening in this city are interesting.
The nights are always busy.
That's what I hear. Miss Grace. And she keeps the paper up. She sounds young. Like she doesn't, she sounds younger than you when you died.
Okay.
No heartbeat. I'm
Mm.
just going to tell you that from now on because I know you guys are wanting to check
Yeah,
for
I
it.
was gonna ask.
Would have been another dead giveaway, pun intended. she she goes, Miss Grace, is there anything going on in the political world of Chicago that you'd like to be more informed about?
There's always more that I'd like to be informed about, uh, especially in a city this busy.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, I see here. The mayor, he was going to make a bid for a higher position, and they seem to have dug up some dirt on him. Seems shaky, at least from what the paper says. Seems like it doesn't really hold a lot of water.
I've heard uh, lots of things lately about the mayor. Up to looking for higher positions, perhaps in bed with people that we're not really great fans of, but they seem to be trying their best. We can agree to disagree with them at times, right?
I think that's definitely where the most political discourse should go. Sure. It's always good to have open minds. As long as you know the core traditions that those are
Of
found
course.
on.
Some things just can't be changed so easily. Shouldn't be.
That's true. I would agree with that. I would also agree, though, that, if the people that should be in power aren't because other people lied and got where they were falsely, maybe we've been following the wrong ideas. Maybe some of those foreign ideas aren't necessarily as scary as people thought. What do you think?
I find I'm often intrigued by change, but there's comfort in the familiar that's hard to let go of.
I agree. I agree. I think too, probably, this is just, I just get this feeling from you that maybe you have masters that you have to listen to, or maybe you want to listen to, that ask you to do things maybe you don't always want to do. It's um it's a good idea to remember, I think. one woman to another. That in times of uncertainty, should remember what keeps you grounded. Should remember the ideals that you had before. And it's possible that if you think you know some new things about people, you could find the answers out if you really looked. Talk to the right people.
You know, I think if I were the mayor, in some fantasy world,
Right.
I think it would be not a terrible position if you had the right friends. And certainly if you were tired of only seeing part of the story, Um, if I could change things, if I could be mayor, if I could make something else happen, I'd want to be sure that the right people were also there to advise, um, just to make sure that the people, the right people, were being supported by what I was doing. Um, and the longer I live in the city, the less sure I am about who the right people are. Uh, but I think that's changing. I think the city's really sort of making its colors known.
Well, based on the little that I've seen since I've gotten into town, and all of the intrigue you have going on,
Mm.
I would be concerned that, I don't know, maybe there's too much outside influence. Maybe it's good to remember who's always been there for you.
I've never been much into politics. It seems so complicated, and so many people just won't tell you who they are that it becomes harder to tell when somebody's telling you exactly who they are and that you should be taking them seriously. Uh, it's like a big chess game, and it's hard to see the ending when there's so many pawns in play with such little power. Um,
You know, I understand that. I think I can relate a little bit. Being moved around like a knight on a chessboard. Something I'm a little familiar with. Bit of advice. Unsolicited. I understand. This whole time, I will point out this person who has not revealed who they are. You've not gotten any hint of aggression or like your threat senses, your red flags aren't really tripping.
Sure.
This person seems to be just genuinely sharing a conversation with you in a way that is well strange because they won't show you their face, but also you get the sense that maybe they genuinely want to help.
Hmm.
Bit of advice. If you're willing to take some from a stranger, I've done the same thing for a long time. Same job. Makes me travel a lot. Meet people that I don't agree with. We have to come to an agreement. And I don't know really any other life. But I will say that it's given me pause lately to find out that my employer might not be as honest with me as I once thought they were. Looking at you, though, I don't think that's the case. You seem to be in a pretty good position, whatever that might be.
So this person is holding a newspaper, right?
Yeah,
Um, presumably, like they're reading it, right? Can I, in the reflection from the bean, see any of what they look like beyond their dark hair or
yeah.
anything like that?
You can make a
Uh,
wits and awareness if you want, but it's going to be a very high difficulty. They are
yeah,
purposefully
I'd like to
concealing
try.
who they are.
That's fair. Sorry, wits and what?
Wits and awareness,
Awareness.
or awareness and wits,
Mhm.
and the difficulty will be 5
Great.
to make anything out.
Great. I'm definitely on Firefox now, but it's still not
Yeah.
giving me. Oh, there it is. Okay, gotcha. Uh, no, none of these things are relevant. All right, fine. I don't think I can actually make that happen. Uh,
You can't do the symbol or
no. Sorry.
the rule.
I was looking to see if I had anything to like make it likely that I could.
Oh,
I
to
was trying. I
add.
was gonna try and table talk you to get
Gotcha.
additional
I
like
gotcha.
oh my this thing could help me, but I don't think I get that, so I'm just gonna have to like pray for a crit. No luck.
No luck. You
How long
can't.
have you been in town? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'd love to hear what you were gonna say.
I was just gonna say you can't make out the facial features in any way beyond the dark hair. This person is wearing gloves. Um, they
Her
have.
feet touch the ground
I'm
on the bench.
Is she touching the
Like she's
ground?
sitting. Yeah. Can she reach the ground? Is she short?
She's a little short.
Okay.
Yeah. She's. I will tell you that she appears young. Like maybe she looks like she's late teens,
Okay.
and you don't really see too much. You don't see any facial features at all, just the hair.
Okay.
Um, There's a small bit of red on her left wrist on the in, like you can kind of see it um, as she's holding the paper.
Okay.
But go ahead with what you were going to say.
Yeah. So you travel for business a lot. How long are you in town?
Oh, um, I don't know yet. Till I'm done, probably.
Sounds like you have a fair bit of freedom. I'm local. You know, maybe if you're here for a bit, uh, I could give you my number and we could talk again.
Well, Miss Grace, I do appreciate the offer. Um, though, if I need to talk or reach out, I'll probably just come by your gallery and meet you face to face. If that's all right, I wouldn't want to impose.
Oh, of course, it's a public space. Uh, Always welcoming of company.
We, I have a feeling that we're going to run into each other again. I think that there's going to be probably a more formal introduction, if I had to say, based on just how things have gone in the past. Um, I have to tell you though, and I mean this, um, with all the sincerity that I can muster, the next time we meet, I might act a little differently. I want you to know, I wanted you to know from tonight that we all have our part to play for now. And the part that I play, I don't think is going to get along as well with you.
I'm sorry, forgive me. You said I don't think it's going to be what with you?
I don't think is going to get along as well with you.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
I'm sorry. I am. I don't, for what it's worth, I don't want it to be that way. After the things that I've seen, I've kind of made my mind up at this point. Oh well, we'll see how it plays out. Not much power us pawns have.
Hmm. You know, it sounds to me like we might be on the same side when it comes down to the most important parts.
I'm still deciding on what side to be on, but I'm
No.
leaning more one way than the other, I'll say.
Hmm.
I like the city. It's nice.
No, but are you a fan of change?
I'm a fan of the things being the way they should.
If only people didn't have so many opinions about that.
That is true. Are you keeping your eye on this person the entire time?
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. No, no, I'm just casually looking about. Fuck do you think I
That's fair.
Sorry, I feel a little anxious.
Okay.
No reason.
No reason.
The figure kind of stands up with the paper and she goes, I will have to ask that you don't try to follow me. I know it's a big ask, but it's for the best.
Uh, Perhaps in exchange for not trying to follow you, you might give me something to call you. Just, when I think back to this, consider the things you said.
Hmm. We've already had a fun meeting today where they used letters, right? That tends to be how she likes to operate. You can call me Elle,
Al,
and I'm
I
sorry that
appreciate.
I know more about you than you do about me.
She visibly nods here. She's, she's,
It's never fun to be taken off guard. And I just couldn't think of another way to have this meeting now before. So,
well, I appreciate your efforts and this conversation. I'll think about what you've said and do my best to remember it when I presume we meet in the future.
you can't see her face. She doesn't visibly nod or anything, but
Mhm.
you get the sense that she agrees. She's going to turn away from you, not in the reflection. She'll put
Mhm.
down the paper and start to walk off. Still, all you can see is just the back of her hair and things of that nature.
Okay. Um,
What
God,
would
that was an act
what
of good faith.
what would your character do, Mercy?
I know. I She is who she is, okay? I asked for something in return for not following her, and she provided that, even if it was kind of shitty with additional context I didn't have to get. I think she's just gonna scoop up that newspaper just in case there's anything about it or in it or anything, and let her leave.
You're gonna take the newspaper for sure?
hmm hmm
Okay. I will give you something later.
Okay.
Well, actually, you know what? Give me another wits and awareness.
Okay.
Do you have anything that would pertain to? Do you have any dots in investigation?
I have one dot in investigation.
You can add one dot to this, and it is a difficulty of 4.
Okay.
I will let you use willpower to reroll.
Oh, absolutely.
But, however, because this is
Oh,
in a
okay.
special episode, I'm going to
hmm
say that you'll be down a willpower on the night we start officially.
Okay.
Okay.
That works for me. Hey, I'm currently down a willpower, and I don't know if that should have stayed that way
It
or not.
shouldn't have, so you can just
Okay,
leave that
great.
as is. You can only reroll 1 though.
All right.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Yeah, you'll get something later.
Okay, I feel fine about this.
Mhm.
I'm assuming you're going to go through that paper and you're going to look for things that might be out of the ordinary or anything that could catch your eye. And
Mm-hmm.
something does. So, um, but with that, I thank you. This has been an actually like full length game
Mm-hmm.
with just the three
Mm-hmm.
of us, four of us. And I meant three of you, four of me. Um, I'm
There's four of
tired.
you.
I'm very tired.
Having a
Um, I do have one last thing that
Yes,
Ygritte wants to.
absolutely.
Um, basically, she's gonna wait until they get back to the Haven.
Uh-huh.
Um, uh, um,
And stab Roland in the heart for bringing her into this. Okay.
Right between the ribs, just like the.
Yep.
um, she's gonna look at Roland and um, I am by no means. Fuck, how do I even say this?
Plainly.
Part of me wants to warn Clancy that Portia is apparently interested in something down in the labyrinth. But I know that goes against being a Toreador and what's best for the clan.
So if someone, yeah, we're home. It's. I'm not
Yeah,
going to
that's
tell
why
you
I
to.
waited
I'm
until
not
we
going to
got
tell
here.
you to do this. What I will say is, if you phrase things well, you're not actually telling him something. Like, say you were happened to mention, "Hey, man, we've had a lot of outside interest coming into the city recently. About there's some underground clubs that people might want to be invested that are trying to, you know, get me."
You know, I haven't told Clancy yet that I've been embraced, and I found some new vintage pins he might like.
Right? And you have a prior friendship with him,
Yeah.
and things
I may
happen to get
need to
mentioned.
I may need to make a visit to him soon.
Yeah, just no names.
Oh,
Subtle.
of course.
Be subtle.
Of course.
We do not know who's watching, what they know, anything of that nature.
I love it.
All right then.
Well, with that, is there
She will rip your head off.
Oh,
anything
don't I know it?
is there anything else before we go that anybody wants to say or do or briefly touch on?
Yeah, this was the most anxiety inducing game for me yet. And I feel less sure than ever. And it wasn't even an official episode or beginning of the thing. And you're very, very good at this. And I am so glad to be part of your game.
Hey, I appreciate it because every time I start this up, I feel like I want to say it's like riding a bicycle, but it's more like remembering how to run a fusion reactor, and I have to be like, wait, do I put this there, or is that going to create a problem? So, um, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting, and
Also,
I'm not sure what's going to happen.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Also, I
that's for
fucking hate
sure.
you.
What?
It's just selling Matt. I also hate him
I mean,
a lot. Like
I'm, I can't just, you know, I,
you already told us who the bad guy was. You could at least take the rest of it.
I can't tell you who the bad guys are and then make it seem super clear and then also make it not clear. I mean, that's kind of the whole thing,
Yeah,
To
that
be
would be
fair,
so
we don't know who
confusing.
the bad guys are.
right?
We could be the bad guys.
Are you the baddies? No one knows.
Depends on
Mercy
your
thinks she is.
viewpoint.
That's true.
Mercy thinks she's the baddie.
It'll
No, she thinks
be.
she's a baddie. That's a
She thinks
difference.
she's the baddie. Have you met her?
No, she thinks she's a baddie, not
You're right.
the
She thinks
baddie.
Maggie's a bigger baddie than she is. It's fair. All right, fine, rude.
So, with the conclusion of this special little episode, that I think it does a good job to kind of illustrate the
Fear and panic.
well, I maybe,
Enormity.
hopefully,
The enormity of the situation.
the scope
Yeah.
of the players that might be involved in this season. We'll say that.
Oh Jesus. Yeah.
These are, of course, you don't go knocking on the inner circle's doors without just reason, and they don't answer without a reason either.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Uh,
And Maggie pulled us all into this.
and you guys happen to be, yes, implicated in a way because of your relationship and proximity to a prince that has risen to power in such a interesting and unique way, that it has created issues in many aspects of kindred society. So, on that note, I think that's a good place to call it. And I'm tired. I think you guys are probably tired too. I don't know that we'll have another special episode before, depending on when our schedules all align and how things work out. Um, if there
Yeah.
are things that you want to talk about, of course we have our Discord and stuff that we can pop into if we can do that. And if it becomes bigger, we will do more. But for that, I
I don't know.
think
I think this season might be more secretive than previous seasons.
it seems like
Mm-hmm.
people are keeping a lot of secrets, and I find that fun because you got to tell me some of the secrets, so that's okay for me. I get to know a little bit of the stuff, but I will be sending you something, Mercy, and I will talk to all of you later.
Okay.
So, much love.